This week, no news. We rank the video games that have come out this year. Extra.
Hey guys, welcome to the podcast that is from the past. I'm the Dean of Games, the Dean Slater if you are on Twitter or Twitch, and joining me is twitch.tv/LMJ the Hitman Landen.
Hello, buddy.
Hello. How are you doing?
Quite good.
Nice.
I like what we got planned.
I am too. I'm worried that it'll go a little long, but we'll figure things out from there.
We'll be good.
From Twitch's Graveyard, we have Gavin. Gavin, are you still there?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
Because I talked so low, my mic didn't pick it up. That's crazy.
It's a little crazy. But you know, it happens. This is Extra, your weekly gaming news podcast covering the news leading up to Sunday, September 4th, 2022. And if you like us, you can go to patreon.com/thebriefing-room. That was a little hard because I had to think about the date on the spot.
Well, you did good.
Yeah, we did good. Woo! We are actually recording this podcast for your guys' reference. We are recording this podcast before last week's podcast. For you guys, for us, it's next week's podcast. It's very confusing. Time's a weird thing.
Flat surface.
Oh man. So what we're gonna do? We're gonna go through and kind of do. I've been calling it Game of the Year. It's kind of more like us ranking the big games that have come out thus far. Because it's just going to be difficult to do a Game of the Year at the midpoint. So we're going to rank them instead.
I think this is great. This is good.
Yeah. Yep, it's a good thing.
I think we might have some arguments ahead of us, though.
Oh, yeah. It's possible. We are going to go in alphabetical order. So we'll start with Dying Light 2, which I almost forgot about, but Landen reminded me that it existed.
I was trying. It didn't come to me like initially. Like it took me a while. I was looking at your list that you had of what you had. And I was just like, I feel like there's something you don't know. You got that. Okay. Well, what about, no, you got that. No, Dying Light kind of flew under the radar a little bit, or maybe it's just because it came out early this year. But yeah, just randomly remembered that one.
It came out early in the year, and then it was one of those things people really enjoyed, like 80% of the game, and the last 20% they absolutely hated. So, I personally did not play Dying Light or Dying Light 2 for that matter. It looks interesting. I enjoy the aspect that it has of adding parkour to zombies. It's just zombies are kind of overplayed at this point, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree. I can agree with that. So you have to have a pretty unique twist to be able to be original on that front.
Yeah, which is what the parkour was, but it wasn't enough for me.
Well, I did like their parkour system is pretty good. I do like their parkour system quite a bit. Very close to, well, if not better than in some ways, Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. So since you're the one that played more of this, where do you think it should go? Okay.
Let's see. I'm thinking like it is a lot. I think it's a very good improvement off the first one. It does a lot, almost everything better. I think story it lacks a little in compared to the first one. There's a lot of characters I just didn't care about. At some point, I just started skipping all the dialogue and moving forward to just killing things and jumping around and stuff. I'm thinking it's a top C tier for me, but could be argued into B tier if you guys had played it. So for me, I'd say, C almost made it to B. I don't know if you could put a midpoint in there, but at the 0.5 scale, but that's
yeah. Okay. Hold on just a second. All right. Yeah, I can put it in C. Let's go ahead and do that. Oh, hold on. I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
There we go.
If you want to like smidge it a little bit above that in those nice lines, it'd be that C plus range.
I mean, we can rearrange things too as we go on, obviously.
Right. Because I mean, based on what other things get, I might think that this might need to be up or lower, or certain things might go up or lower based off of like what other games get.
Yeah. So next up is the Juggernaut, the undisputed champion right now, Elden Ring.
Yeah, it's S tier. Just go ahead and toss it up to the top. Like, there's not too much to say. I mean, you can talk about it anyways, but it's obviously Elden Ring. That game blew the internet apart.
Yeah, I've talked about my personal issues with Elden Ring and FromSoft games in general, so I won't rehash that.
I'd have to say A tier.
What?
The only thing that bothers me is the character creation. It's so finicky.
Oh man, that is such a small part, and this the 0.5% of the rest of the 99.5% of the game. I don't know. First thing you do is you put an armor plate on and cover that up.
That's a huge part for me, dog. Is character customization.
I mean, I would say that there are games that do it better, and they like Dragon's Dogma does a pretty good job at character creation. It could be better. For me personally, I would not knock that down at all. I don't think there's any game that does what Elden Ring did in the last, since Skyrim. And
it's like
Skyrim's character creation. Would you say Skyrim's not S tier? Because Skyrim's character creation is terrible.
I'd say Skyrim's A tier.
What? Skyrim is S tier for sure.
Character creation, dog. Sorry. You think me, just like with Code Vein, I would put Code Vein in A tier because their character creation is phenomenal. Their gameplay is kind of.
There has been no other game where I have witnessed my brother, who only plays 2K basketball and Madden and occasionally Call of Duty. The only three things that he plays since ever, like always. Every time I go visit him or go see him, he is playing Elden Ring, and that is the only thing he has played since that game has released. A buddy gave it to him, and he has yet to put it down. And all he plays are sports games. Name me another game that could do that. I mean, besides Skyrim.
Apex.
I don't think. I was just like, with a haymaker of a game that is. I personally think it's S tier. But if Dean doesn't have a say so and doesn't like it, and you're saying it's A tier, I feel like I'm at odds here. You might have to put it down in the A tier.
We'll say like A plus tier.
Well, if you're gonna do the plus shit, then I think Dying Light 2 goes in the C plus range. You put Dying Light right in the middle of B and C, and you put Elden Ring in the middle of A and S, and I will be happy. But if not, then Elden Ring goes in S tier for sure.
Sorry, I've been distracted. I don't know if you see this from the stream, But
I've been watching
it's,
it again.
it's discoloring the thing.
I've been watching the whole time. I'm like, what the fuck is he doing?
I was like, what's it doing? It's discoloring. Okay, here, hold on. Let me move Dying Light up. That kind of fucks up the little lines, but that's okay.
Oh wow, Dying Light really discolored it.
Yeah, that is because I already had it planted down, but there we go. Fixed it.
Add some bleach.
All right, so Elden Ring is between A and S.
We're
and
doing
Dying
it.
Light 2 is between B and C.
Compromise.
It's a good thing we're not actually using a tier maker website because they would not allow that shit to fly.
You know, they'd be like, "What is this?"
All right. Horizon Forbidden West is next. A game that might not have passed Elden Ring anyway, but had the unfortunate thing of coming out like a week before Elden Ring.
I don't know about. I'm mixed with that game with Horizon. The game is, it is a potential S tier because it's better than the first, I would say. But its story and it being just more of the same was kind of a letdown. There wasn't enough change, I guess, or improvements on combat, I would say, more or less. I would say A tier, or almost B tier. So I'll give it an A.
Are we going to give it a B plus tier?
No. We only have one. Something needs to be in a natural spot.
All right, we can do that. Let's see. There we go. All right, I'll put it in A tier. There we go.
Definitely not S. And I can see how it could be argued in B, but no one's here to argue. So I say A.
Yeah, I still need to play I've been lacking on the PlayStation, play games in general, like first party games, because I can only play when I head over to one of my buddies' houses, and so therefore I haven't really completed a PlayStation game in a long time. So let's see. Next up, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. So I played a little bit of this.
Just a tiny bit.
Yeah, just a tiny bit. I do have the game. I need to play more of it, but I've only played the demo so far, and it was for this podcast. It was a very, very solid game.
Kirby's S tier because he gives the suck.
He does give the suck, and he also turns into a car. So,
Yeah, he does, and a vending machine,
and a vending machine, and a roller coaster,
and a cone,
and he sucks up water and becomes like a weird, dysmorphed water balloon, essentially. Oh nope, did not want to do that. Oh boy. There we go. Copy. So where do we want it?
So what you're telling me is, not only does he give the suck, but he's got his own vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
He knows how to give. He can give you some bomb ass snacks and food.
Yeah.
He's full of excitement.
Yeah.
And he's always wet.
He's always wet, and he spits too.
Oh shit!
You know what? You convinced me. Let's put him in S.
Kirby's the perfect man.
I mean, it's definitely one of those classic Nintendo exclusives. Like, it's the reason why people own Switch for games like that. So,
yeah,
I wouldn't argue that.
All right, we're gonna move him to S then.
Boom.
There we go.
Kirby.
Man, there are gonna be some people upset we didn't put Elden Ring in S in the first place, and then they're gonna be even more upset we put Kirby
At least it's almost in there.
Yeah.
Guys, listen. Here's the thing. Do you want Elden Ring or do you want the perfect partner? Get Kirby.
Oh, also Kirby's a demigod, so that you have that going for you too.
True. Can't really argue that one either.
No. All right, so this is the first game I've played a lot of, like significant enough to make a judgment on. Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. It's a very solid game, but it's just more of the Lego formula, and then it has the added detriment that I had to start an entirely new game because it fucked up.
C tier.
I say it's B.
B. You want to go?
I mean, you guys can argue away. I mean, there's three of us. You can base my B and his C. What do you think?
I mean, just based off of like the issues that he's had with it, I know like other Lego games.
I think it's one of the better Lego games. There's some flops. I'm not a personal like all the Lego games, but Lego games are for the most part pretty fun, and they put a lot of love into that one.
Oh, they definitely did, and I do appreciate all that. But there are issues like with me having to restart my game, and then Gavin's roommate. The game crashes every time he tries to start episode 9.
Oh.
He hasn't.
That's like the best glitch ever. You don't need to play that part of the game.
Then plus, it's just another Lego game, and there is just so many Lego games.
Yeah, so it is the best Lego game, but I may go ahead and put it in C just because there are issues with it. It does have, I will note, it does have a lot of accessibility options, which I appreciate.
For anybody, just so you know, the only reason it's not in D is because it is the best Lego game.
Yeah. So I will go ahead and do that.
Pretty good game though.
It is a very good game. I would love to put it in B, but I do have that stigma of it fucking up on me.
For sure. If anything like that happened to me, I would for sure hold that against it. Definitely takes away from your overall experience.
And then also my roommate's crashing and the fact that it's just another Lego game.
Yeah. I really like the Lego games, so I'm not disparaging.
The Lord of the Ring one is pretty good.
Oh yeah.
I played the Batman one, but like after the Batman one, I was like, I really don't want to play more Lego games.
Yeah, no, they definitely put out way too many, way too fast.
Yeah, Lego ones, the Lego Batman ones, and then the DC Universe ones. I don't know if those are the same or not.
There were before this game, there were 25 Lego games, and the first Lego Star Wars game came out. I want to say.
Oh, the Game Boy Advance, right?
It was in that era. Yeah, it was like 17 years ago.
Oh man, I love those. I played.
So
I played those on the Game Boy Advance.
So they've released 26 Lego games in 17-ish years.
Wow, it's a little over 1 year.
Yeah, so they definitely were releasing quite a bit. Next up, Live Alive. I am really excited to play this game. I have not yet. I've heard really good things overall about the game. The one thing I've heard, and it was actually today I heard, is the ending, because you have 7 different stories, and then after you play all 7 stories, each story is about 2 hours-ish long. Once you play all 7 stories, you unlock an 8th final story that ties everything together. And I've heard that 8th final story overstays its welcome. And the ending goes on a little too long. So that's the one really big thing I've heard about the game. but I've heard it's got a really unique combat style. In fact, there's one story that has no combat at all. It's just story, which I think is fascinating. Where do we want to put it?
I'm pretty excited to play this one as well.
Yeah.
I don't know when I'll get the chance to. My backlog grows and the games I keep buying grows.
Yeah.
Cult of the Lamb.
Oh, I didn't add that. I can add that real quick.
You didn't add that one? Yeah, you should add that one because I haven't played it yet, but I do own it now.
Nice.
I'm pretty excited about that one.
I'm gonna go ahead and put it in B because I am super excited about it. Like I said, I haven't heard a whole lot of flaws, but I will say in terms of, we're ranking these, under the premise of, potential game of the year. It has no shot of game of the year because it is just a flat out remake with not a whole lot of changes between it and the original Super Nintendo version.
What game?
Live Alive.
Oh, okay.
And
yeah.
Game of the year, they do have like strict rules about what kind of remake makes it into the Game of the Year qualifications. So for that, I will put it at B, but I think of it as an A right now, having not played it. Just my excitement level in general. Let me pull up.
One Cult of the Lamb. Yeah, the game, I've heard nothing but amazing things. And I think Cult of the Lamb, I don't think it wins it, but I think it might end up actually being a Game of the Year contender.
Yeah.
Or at least a nominee.
The whole premise of it is interesting to me.
Oh, good, dude. I can't, I'm real big into that. Keeping your, like the whole Animal Crossing style, your crops and building up your stuff, but instead it's all satanic rituals and, blood rituals and sacrificing your villagers. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Question for you. While I'm trying to add all of this, this does fuck up our alphabetical order, but whatever. So are you going to be naming your villagers after people you know, or is that going to be weird because you're sacrificing them?
Oh, everyone's going to be named somebody I know.
See,
if you want, I'll make a specialized clip of whenever you get sacrificed. For both of you. Yeah, there you guys go. Thanks for the upgrades.
Yeah, I've always done the same thing. I've always named characters after people I know, and I always thought, is this weird? But Cult of the Lamb has taught me, no, I'm not alone in that, which I appreciate. But like I said, a lot of people are like, should I be sacrificing the person I know? Oh,
there might be some bad juju with that.
I'm gonna name all mine to my exes.
Oh, damn. Where do I fit in there? All right. So select all. There we go. All right. Now, Cult of the Lamb. Where do we want to put it?
Man, I just know that it's gonna be good, but I say we do B or A just because we don't really have any knowledge of it. But from what everyone's been saying, that game is phenomenal.
I'm gonna say A, honestly, because it's very unique in its own way.
Yeah.
Ah, man, I'm so excited to start that game.
Yeah, it's super unique. I do think it's interesting. They combined two things I never thought would be combined in a video game before, which is a roguelike and a life simulator. I think that's fascinating that they made those two completely different genres work.
I feel like they just drew them out of a hat, all these different ideas or different styles of a video game out of a hat. And like, all right, let's combine, cute, fluffy animals with satanic rituals, with roguelike, with last dungeon crawler.
I've
You're not,
heard.
you're not realizing this is on console, and I just read it's on console. I'm about to fire up my PlayStation and buy that bitch.
It is on console.
Yeah.
The only thing is, it was a hefty buy for $25 for that game, but all the hype behind it, I had to try it anyways.
See, if it was like $60, I'd wait till like fucking paycheck. But like, if it's like $25, shit.
Yeah. I've heard people say, do indie developers come up with the name and then the game based off that name they came up with? 100% that's what happened here.
Facts.
They're like, Cult of the Lamb, that's a good name for a game. How do we make a game that we can call Cult of the Lamb?
Name first, gameplay later.
So this is going to be a Gavin heavy segment right here.
Yeah, I typed in CU and Cult of Lamb immediately popped up.
Yeah. Multiverses.
Fucking, I've got to be honest. Fuck, I can't be a fanboy. I gotta be honest. A tier.
A.
You want it to be S tier?
I want it to be S tier, but right now there's a huge problem plaguing multiverses, and that is infinites.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they fixed the issue with zero to death combos with just some timing with some of the moves and everything. But right now there's a problem with certain characters like Harley's bad on one map at least, and then there's one with LeBron that's annoying on some maps where they'll just get you up to a wall or a ceiling and just spam the exact same move over and over again, and you cannot get out of it. Like there's no possible way to get out of it unless you're playing teams and your teammate just so happens to fucking get down, Mr. President, your ass. But otherwise, it's a huge problem that they said they are going to fix. So I'm sure like once they fix it, it'll be back up to S tier for me. But like right now it's at A just for that simple fact because it's bad. You will hardly ever see people playing characters that can't do infinites.
Yeah. Speaking of that, it's a different game entirely, so it's a little off subject. But I just saw a clip as I was prepping the show. It was from Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl, and it's Q Neutron has an attack where he jumps on a pogo stick, and the clip was he jumps on a pogo stick, lands on Patrick, and then just keeps landing on Patrick and pushed Patrick out of the ring, and Patrick couldn't do anything. He was on the ground the whole time.
Yeah, that's an infinite.
Yeah. I've always called it a stun lock, but yeah.
It was you to the showroom, Jimbo.
Huh.
Yeah, no, it was
game that stuff like that will destroy a game immediately.
Yeah.
The Mortal Kombat versus DC people, they had that with Flash, where you could just immediately just run past them over and over and over and over again, ruin the entire game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut the next game because it's not a super big one, and we're up there in time too, and we still have a lot of games to go. And I'll cut. You guys are fine if I cut Rainbow Six Extraction as well, right?
Never played it.
I played it for like 3 weeks. It got popular for like a week, and then I never heard about it again. Like it was an interesting concept, but they did not do nearly enough with that game.
Okay, it's cut. So we have 5 games left. The next game is Pokemon Legends Arceus, and that is how you say it. That is official from Nintendo, from all the Nintendo Directs. They pronounce it Arceus. There's even a fucking Pokemon movie based on Arceus where they call Arceus Arceus. But no one ever says it right. No one. I've heard no one say it right, even though Nintendo has so much content. talking
I'm not
about
even
it.
I'm not even into Pokemon like that, and I knew it was Arceus. What do other people call it?
Arceus or Arceus.
You fucking dumbasses.
Anyway, nonsensical rants aside, I played a lot of this game. I enjoy it because it is more focused on the catching, which is what I personally like about Pokemon. I'm not at the battling I enjoy, but it's not something that I go to Pokemon for. I go to Pokemon to catch them all. I will spend hours in a single area making sure I've caught every Pokemon in that area in regular Pokemon games. So I enjoyed it. Its story is bleh, and it has maybe some of the worst graphics I've ever seen. Like, I went into it, I'm like, I don't care about graphics. Graphics are no big deal. And then I saw what was going on with Pokemon Arceus, with the fragmenting when you catch a Pokemon on the water and in a cave, and you just see a white, jagged outline around your character, like it was poorly photoshopped into that environment.
Oh,
The graphics are, it's hard to overstate how bad the graphics are in Pokemon Arceus.
so sad.
But it is a fun game nonetheless. I would put it in C.
So, I mean, the only thing I would have to say about it is I think it's a step in the right direction for those games, and potentially in the right direction of a Pokemon game that I will eventually want to buy again and be more invested in. But you know, for all the fans out there, they have a large enough fan base to buy that game and funded enough to show that people want more of stuff like that. Thankfully, so I'm excited about the future of Arceus and Pokemon. But yeah, I'd say your C tier seems alright.
Yeah, it was like the third best-selling Pokemon game and ever, and that's compared to Pokemon games that have two versions, and this was just one version. So, yeah, that shows that people want that type of game for sure. All right, next, I think you played this, Landen. Next up is Sifu.
Yep. Big fan.
All right. So what do you think about Sifu? Where should it go?
Man, the fact that it's an indie game and what they, I don't know how well developed that game is and how well it plays, and how intricate some of its systems are, just as far as like unlocking different areas through different missions and replayability and trying to get best runs and, you know, kind of RPG elements based off of getting better runs too with that game. It's pulled off quite a bit for such a small studio. And an indie game like this would have came out 10 years ago, people's jaws would have been on the floor. Like this would have been a $60 game 10 years ago, and it wasn't. It was, I think this game was $30, $40 maybe. Don't quote me on that. but yeah, no, I thought the game is phenomenal. I think it's easy A tier. If there was someone here to argue a few flaws, and I could potentially see B tier, but no, A tier for sure for me.
Yeah, I haven't even played it, but like just like even just the general concept, and I'm also just super into Asian culture and martial arts and shit like that. Like I honestly believe it'll be A tier.
Yeah, I'm fine with A tier because I've said it before on the podcast. I no longer have time having two kids, and I got work to do around the house, renovating it and so forth. I just don't have time to beat my head against the wall with a hard game.
It definitely is hard for sure.
Yeah, this game though is interesting enough that I'd be willing to try it, even though I don't really have time.
Well, they've had free updates along its release to allow an even easier modes for that game. And I believe even you can just continually play without, you can die as many times as you want and still play through the whole game now, I'm pretty sure. You can just switch that, push a switch on, and then you're playing it like that, which is pretty cool. Easy accessible for people who can't handle that. But I would say that even on its normal difficulty and is pretty tough, it does a good job at teaching you how to play the game better just by repeating through missions over and over again and without feeling repetitive at all. Constantly stringing together new combos and kung fu moves. I always felt fresh. All right. Thank you for putting that in there.
Yeah, no problem. Next up, let's see. Oh, here's another game that I had forgotten about. No one reminded me of it that I personally know, but I was listening to a fellow gaming podcast. Some people here might be familiar with it. It's called P.S. I Love You XOXO. Reminded me that this game exists, and I'm like, why didn't I remember this game? Like, wasn't that long ago that it was all over the internet, and that is Dre.
S tier, immediate S tier, right now.
I got about an hour and a half in it now, and I'm a big cat fan, so I'd say it's pretty S tier as well, but that's only because I do like cats quite a bit. So
sure, S tier.
Cats get S. Cat game. It could have been a bad cat game, and it probably would have been an S. But it's a good cat game.
Thanks.
All right, if you'll excuse me, I gotta go return my money to Big Dog.
What?
Big Dog Corporation, because I am fully invested in dogs. It does look like a fun game though.
And plus, that's such an interesting and unique concept. Is you just play a cat.
Yeah, no, it is a cool thing for sure. I'm just kind of teasing.
I mean, it could be literally the exact same game, but you were not a cat and would not be an S tier.
Exactly.
So next up is my personal current game of the year, Tunic. This game also a really tough game. They talk about their inspiration with Zelda, and that's how they came up with the top-down style that they did. Is based on old Zelda games, but a lot of the mechanics in the game are actually more FromSoft style, with you needing to dodge and parry at the right time. They have they have bonfires, where if you get you get healed, you save your game, but all the enemies respawn when you go to them. You also upgrade at those statues that are the equivalent. You have very limited healing potions, which also restock when you go to those statues to save. If you die, all of your currency is trapped inside a ghost that you have to then reacquire. It is very Souls-like in that aspect.
Has this game made its way to PlayStation?
It is on PlayStation. I believe it's like $30.
Damn. Indie games. This year in these indie games, man, they be slapping.
Yeah. And then I've talked about accessibility before. It has a lot of the accessibility options that an Elden Ring does not as well. So I personally want to put it in S, unless anyone wants me to move it down.
I know nothing about the game, so.
I did. I know there was when that game released, it had all the hype in the entire world, and it was all over the place. And then I just didn't hear anything about it, but I don't think that discredits how good it was when everybody was talking about it. So I mean, you're fine putting it up there in S tier.
Yeah, it's a short game,
Also an indie studio as well, so
Yeah,
it
absolutely.
made another phenomenal game.
Yeah. It is a it is an indie game. It is a very short game, which is why you probably stopped hearing about it. Because once it was over, it was over. They do have this cool little thing. It's kind of in the same vein as Souls as well, where all of the story is in this. It's like an old style booklet that you would get with games. You know, like uh, Game Boy and SNES and NES stuff. Like you'd get those booklets with all the information about the game.
Mm.
That's how you get the story of the game is through these booklet pages, which you actually find, and you're trying to collect the booklets. And it's got some of the cutest art styles, and it's got like the dots from like the how they used to print things, and if you looked closely, it was just a bunch of dots making the color.
Mm.
It has that. It's really cool attention to detail there. Anyway, that's everything I have to say about Tunic right now.
No arguments here.
All right. So now we're getting into the waifu and husbando game that everyone's talking about.
What game?
It is Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
There's actually potentially another game that you might want to add. I don't know. I don't remember if you had it on the list or not. Correct me if I'm wrong. But that card-based shooter where you had tried to get the fast times. Neon White. Yeah.
I can add that for sure.
Yeah, I feel like that definitely that had a lot of hype and still does. And the speedrun community is going crazy with that game. Like they're all over that game.
Yeah,
People keep breaking records and breaking records and breaking records.
So I love JRPGs. I just don't have the time for them anymore, so I don't have a lot of interest in this. I also have never played any of the other Xenoblade Chronicles games. I don't know if that actually matters. Because I know with like the Persona games, each Persona game is trapped within its own thing. If I have extra money, I'll probably end up picking it up. But I have other games that are higher on my wish list that I actually have time for. So I don't know if we want to. I don't know if we want to go with like B or C or anything like that.
I know the community is real strong with that game. I mean, I would say me personally, it'd probably be a C, just based off what I like. But I think the community and who actually plays and likes that game would probably say B.
Yeah, I think they'd probably say higher than B, but they're not here.
Well, yeah, okay, fine, yeah. I think the people who actually play, but yeah, it's just I don't know very many people who do play that game. But I'm not discrediting that. I know the sales are crazy, but
I know it's the style of game that friend of the show Cole likes to play, but I don't know that he plays the Xenoblade games either. I've never really asked. Neon White. So you give me your pitch for Neon White while I pull this up.
Oh, Neon White. I mean, I haven't really played it, but I've seen quite a bit about it and speedruns of it, and people go pretty hard in that game. Like I said, the community of speedrunners are really attracted to that game right now, and I don't know, it's pretty wild to watch how people come up with unique ideas how to get to the finish line. And things you never think, or even people who made the game, they're like, oh, no, I've never even thought of that. So it's pretty cool to see people break that game, and I don't know, it's. Other than its weird anime style, storytelling. I think that game's pretty great.
Yeah. Do you have anything to say about Neon White?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I was in the bathroom because I knew nothing
You're
about
good.
this game. So.
Yeah. Yeah, Neon White is a card-based speedrunning shooter.
I mean, card-based games are, from what I've seen so far, never a bad thing.
Okay. So where are you wanting to put it, Landon?
B.
B. All right, I will do B. You know, I spent all that time making a D tier, and we never used it. Not once did we use it. Which I guess I should have thought about that. We are doing like the best games that have come out this year, so
Put Elden Ring back in D tier.
Well, I wanna argue something actually because
okay.
well, now that we have more displayed here, all these games throughout this list, you see how Stray is an S, Tunic is an S, and Kirby is an S. None of these three games that are an S are going to get Game of the Year. That's just not going to happen. But you know what is going to get Game of the Year? That's Elden Ring. So why don't we just bump Elden Ring the rest of the way up into the S tier instead of that halfway point?
Here's my
right in your face if Stray beats Elden Ring.
All right.
No way, dude. There's no way.
It's not gonna happen.
The ultimate meme. It would be a meme of
all right.
the elections all over. It's rigged.
Yeah. Here's my counterpoint for our tier list. Elden Ring being below those three games, and those three games being S, is a meme, and I appreciate the meme.
Yeah, same.
This is unofficial midway. We can have some fun with it, but if you really want it in S, I can move it to S.
No, it's not that big of a deal.
One of these days, once we have a big enough group, I will say I really like how Kinda Funny does their Game of the Year at the end of the year. I guess it's at the beginning of the next year or whatever, but I do like that system, and I absolutely have no qualms about stealing it. We don't have enough people to do that system because it's each member of Kinda Funny ranks their games, like their top 10 games of that year.
Mm-hmm.
And then each position is numbered. Like, so first place will get 10 points and on down. And so then it's just a combination of all of people's rankings into a point list, and it's whoever has the most points is their game of the year.
Yeah, I do appreciate that style as well. That is a unique one. And I think it adds a little bit more fairness and more of like a democratic way to do it.
Like Ratchet and Clank won for last year's Game of the Year.
It was great.
And it was only because even though it didn't get first place on every single person's list, it was on every single person's list. Yeah. And just being on everyone's list gave it enough points to go above other games. But I like this. Like I said, it is kind of memey, but I'm kind of okay with it being memey. We're just here to have fun.
Yes.
Add extra. You guys have seen my predictions and everything. So yeah. Thank you for listening, guys. Let me actually pull that document back up. If you liked or didn't even like this podcast, make sure to do all of the things, like hitting the like button, hitting the subscribe button, and hitting the bell on youtube.com/the XofPlays, or giving it a high rating on whatever podcast service you use so you can find like-minded people. Be sure to tell people about the show. Word of mouth is the best way to help us grow. And I brought it up before, but on patreon.com/thebriefing room, you can financially support the show and get cool rewards as well. That's all from us. Take care.